This is a stimulus check update and daily news report. When it comes to stimulus checks, I'll give you the latest updates on articles like this. For stimulus check update, 4 states will send payments in December 2021. Also, this one right here, more drivers are getting car insurance stimulus checks. Time for your next refund. Also, I'll give you the latest of what's going on with the Build Back Better package. AOC is losing faith and saying that they may not get enough votes. Also, Kevin McCarthy speaks up and saying that there may be a chance to defeat the Build Back Better plan from the Republican perspective. I'm going to play a few different video clips, the latest interviews on that, and I'll give you some other more important updates as well. Hope you're having a more than mundane Monday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving $200 to my subscribers. I'll talk more about that later on in the video, but first, I'll give you the stimulus check news first. More drivers are getting car insurance stimulus checks. Time for your next refund. So basically what this is talking about is during the pandemic, when a lot of people were not driving, car insurance companies were raking in billions of dollars. So now states such as Michigan in this case are asking for refund checks for all the profits that the car insurance companies have gotten. So Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan has called for refunds of up to $675 per vehicle to be promptly returned to policyholders in her state. This is also going on in California, among many other states. They're asking the car insurance companies for this money. Hasn't come back in yet, but I'll keep you updated if anything changes. When it comes to this article right here, are you getting a surprise stimulus check in time for the holidays? So this is giving a roundup of all the different state stimulus checks that are going on. So for example, Arizona is offering the residents that are out of work to go back to work. Those who return part-time could be eligible for $1,000. Those who return full-time could get $2,000 to go back to work. Also, California with their Golden State stimulus checks of $600 or up to $1,100. Florida paying teachers and principals $1,000. Connecticut has a program that's paying $1,000 to go back to work. Then we have Idaho, which is giving one-time income tax rebate that brought 500,000 filers a check worth of an average $248. Also, for stimulus check, 4 states will send payments in 2021. Sort of going over a few of the other ones there. So residents in Maine will receive more than $280. That actually was sent out November 15th, but it's probably going to be, the ones in the mail might take a little longer. Talking about the California stimulus checks, Maryland giving up to $500, which I mentioned before. And then also it's mentioning Florida, which announced a $5,000 cash bonus to unvaccinated police officers looking to relocate to Florida from New York, Minneapolis, and Seattle. So a few different types of stimulus checks going out using stimulus money. Also this one, nearly 3 million Americans demand $2,000 stimulus check as COVID-19 starts to rise again. So with cases back on the rise, a lot of people are asking for the $2,000 stimulus checks. So if we look at this petition right here, it actually has jumped a little bit since the cases have been going up. So $2,000 per month to every American, currently at 2,966,000 signatures so far. And it looks like it keeps on rising. So as I mentioned with all my videos, no fourth stimulus check in any bill or standalone bill, and no politicians have gotten it. Looks like the bill is going to face a tough challenge in the Senate. We'll talk about that now. So actually first, Schumer McConnell dialed down the debt ceiling drama. So Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell, the two Senate leaders, are discussing the debt ceiling as well as government shutdown to hopefully not make it a last second drama or crisis or whatever it is. So keep you updated. We haven't heard of anything come out of it yet. When it comes to the big bill, AOC says it will be difficult for Democratic leaders to get votes on anything moving forward if the Build Back Better bill doesn't pass soon. So we don't have a timeline on that Build Back Better plan, but AOC says the party leaders will have a tough time corralling votes if reconciliation doesn't pass soon. The Congresswoman told New York Times that the process for passing Build Back Better has been demoralizing for a lot of folks, and the House voted to advance the reconciliation bill but faces uncertainty in the Senate. But Democrats are optimistic as social spending bill heads to the Senate. The big question is how much is a bill going to be gutted in the Senate? So I'm going to play a few different video clips. This first one comes from Or actually, this first one is a big mashup of a lot of different people who gave interviews. Then I'll give you the Kevin McCarthy interview and another one after that.
You can tell that the vast majority of this legislation is cooked. And what it amounts to, even as details get resolved and negotiations continue, is a historic investment in making it easier and more affordable to be a family with kids in this country. It will go down in history.
It's not about the measures and the policies. Everyone likes those things. They're good things. But this is an immense amount of money. And we don't run a balanced budget in Washington. We sure as heck do here in New Hampshire. Somebody has to pay for all of this.
I think people need to be open to compromise. And I think if we compromise like we did in the bipartisan infrastructure package, where we had 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans that, argued and fought and came to a bill that would work, I think it's the same thing within the 50 Democrats, too. We don't all see the world the same way.
I happen to believe that that every transaction in Washington, not every transaction in Washington requires a loser. And when North Dakotans can win, if Joe Biden looks good in the process, I'm more concerned about the North Dakotans.
Oh, you got to find ways to come to the middle. You don't do that just by cutting a price tag from $3.5 trillion to $1.75 trillion. You do it by looking at what happens at a local level. How do you make sure these programs can get implemented? Remember, the Senate supports a policy, they support funding. And then they go on to the next thing. It's governors and the citizens and local communities that have to implement these programs and that feel the real costs of them.
This Build Back Better is an important piece of legislation.
So it sounds like you're going to be a supporter of it, regardless of what it looks like in the details?
Oh, no. It's going to come over from the House. There's going to be some changes.
I'm optimistic that Senator Manchin and I can continue to talk about ways to put paid leave in this bill, because long term, he wants it to be something that's bipartisan. But I've looked and I've talked to all the Republicans who are interested in paid leave, and none of them have an interest in what he wants to do, which is this earned benefit idea. So I think Senator Manchin and I can come together, hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
What are your thoughts on both the Democrat and Republican perspective there? It's definitely going to be interesting over the next few days and few weeks. Representative McCarthy says House GOP could have a chance to defeat the Build Back Better because the bill is going to go to the Senate, get gutted, go back to the House for a vote, which is where Kevin McCarthy is. Here's what he has to say about that.
And first up this morning, Kevin McCarthy's smackdown. The GOP leader busted up the Democrats' plans to vote on Biden's tax and spend agenda Thursday night by speaking for a marathon 8.5 hours, forcing the vote to be delayed until Friday morning while fighting the Biden agenda.
This evening showed that no matter the time, the day, or the circumstances, House Republicans will always fight for you, fight for your family, and fight for our country.
Joining me right now after that marathon speech is GOP leader Kevin McCarthy. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. Congratulations. How is your voice doing after 8.5 hours speaking?
You know, my voice is still strong because it's still strong for the American people. You know, when I went to the floor, I had no idea we would speak that long. It wasn't about breaking the record. It was about breaking down this bill. More than 2,000 pages, and the Democrats were only allowing, once they put that manager's amendment in, 10 minutes on each side to debate. And the amount of heckling that they would try to do to stop me from being able to talk. But what we really found, Maria, with one-party rule in 1 year, that this big government socialism isn't working. It's not working when we have the highest inflation in 31 years. These gas prices, when this big government cripples American energy industry, but begs OPEC and Russia to produce more. When our military is focused on wokeism instead of defeating and winning war and keeping up with China. Or if you watch that our Attorney General, now in a big government socialism, turns and goes after parents. And if you listen to the Ways and Means chairman, he praised and he said, we need to build up bigger bureaucracy. That's what this bill is about. And that's what I want. That's what drove me to keep talking, so the American people could understand what's in it.
So, Congressman, you said that there was heckling. Were they heckling you while you were speaking? Did that also drive you to keep going? You were there for 8.5 hours. You're saying you got there, you weren't planning to be there all night?
No, I was going down to make a statement, to talk through this bill. I had a speech that I'd been working on for a while. It'd probably have taken me about 45 minutes to give that speech at the longest. But when I got onto the floor, what was so interesting of how bad they were fighting back with every word I would say. And I know back home you can't really hear it or see it, but when you're on the floor you can. And what's interesting, it was AOC and Tim Ryan. Those were the ones who would yell the loudest. And here's Tim Ryan, who used to be the alternative to Nancy Pelosi, who had partnered to become this big government socialism. And they would scream from the other side, trying to shut me down. And then you've watched the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, come in and tap every Democrat to leave the chambers thinking I would stop. And that's when I said to the American public, you can leave. It's okay. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
Because I'm not there for the Democrats. I was there for the American public, and I'm still there for the American public because this bill, if it passes the Senate, won't be the same. It's going to come back to the House. We can defeat it.
Okay. So you think that it goes to the Senate and it will be stopped and then it will have to be changed again. So you think the House will have to have another vote on this once it fails in the Senate?
Yeah, well, not if it fails. It's only if it fails in the Senate, it dies. But if the Senate changes it, any of those changes has to come back to the House. So we have another bite at the apple here. And more people who learn about this. That was my point. I want people to know what's in the bill. I want people to know what they are doing, that this big government socialism isn't working. They see it every day. I mean, think for one moment, Maria, that in 8 months, this border being open, that more people, 1.4 million, have entered illegally. That's more than the last 3 years combined. When you take an attorney general that turns and lies to Congress, that they are actually looking at parents and calling them terrorists. When you watch what they have done, as you sit down as a family, I don't know how long you're going to drive or how far for Thanksgiving, but your gasoline prices is the highest it's been since the last time Joe Biden was in office. Or your Thanksgiving dinner is going to be the most expensive in American history. Or when you sit down to pray before and give thanks, I hope we all talk about those 13 Gold Star families that lost their lives because of that prisoner coming out of Bagram because we left, or the Americans who are left behind. That is what big government socialism has given us.
And we were waiting for the CBO score on this bill. We knew that it was not the true cost because all of the gimmicks, they've got some of the programs saying that they will sunset when, in fact, we know that they're not going to go away after 1 or 2 years. The CBO says it will add to the deficit $750 billion after 5 years, $367 billion after 10. Did you see any pushback once we did get the CBO score from the Democrats?
No, I don't know why those Democrats held it up to say they had to wait for the CBO score. We now know that the president and the Democrats have been lying to us all along, saying the bill was paid for. Because even if you listen to his chief of staff, who would brag that this bill is bigger than the New Deal, that they are spending more than America spent to win World War II. But why? For bigger government. This is what happens when you have one-party rule. We've watched what transformed. You know, history repeats itself. The same thing happened when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker. After we won Virginia and New Jersey governorships, 4 days later they passed Obamacare. We've watched the penalties of what happened to America. That was the point that we were talking about. But they're literally cheering this. But what's worse today than what happened with Obamacare is we didn't have gasoline prices this high. We didn't have inflation at the height of more than 3 decades. And what's going to happen, the pain that this will cause will only be greater now.
What are your thoughts on what Kevin McCarthy has to say? I can't believe he spoke for 8.5 hours. That must have been grueling. I wonder if they're allowed to take a bathroom break or not. But anyways, next up, I'm going to play you a video clip from the White House, Pete Buttigieg talking more about the Build Back Better plan. What's going to happen moving forward?
We are supporting short-term action, but You're right, this isn't a stimulus like we had in 2009. This is about making sure that America is competitive for the rest of this century. We are, funding repairs that could begin almost immediately, that mayors and states have been wanting to do for a long time, but we're building cathedrals here in terms of some of the bridge replacements or major projects of national significance or airport terminals or other things that are going to happen over the years thanks to this generational investment.
What do you believe is going to be the heaviest lift in the Senate for the Senate version of Build Back Better?
Well, look, that's ultimately down to the Senate and the process between the Senate and the House. What I will say is that you can tell that the vast majority of this legislation is cooked. And what it amounts to, even as details get resolved and negotiations continue, is a historic investment in making it easier and more affordable to be a family with kids in this country. It will go down in history, this turning point that we're about to create thanks to Build Back Better.
Even if paid family leaves is not in it?
For example, child care costs cut in half.
If paid family leave's not in it,
we're talking about,
are you still going to be able to make that claim?
Of course. I mean, cutting childcare costs in half, delivering free pre-kindergarten education for 3- and 4-year-olds, that is an absolutely historic achievement, even if there are more things that we would like to do and will continue to try to do. There is no question that the framework that the president put out that we're confident will pass the Senate as well as the House represents a historic achievement and, of course, worth mentioning, given the news of the day, that is also going to be very helpful in the long run and the not so long run in cutting the costs that are impacting families who are facing inflation.
So that is both the Republican and White House perspectives on the Build Back Better plan. We're going to see what's going to happen as it heads to the Senate. I'll keep you updated. That is all the stimulus news I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I'm going to tell something what you should do. Don't let anybody tell you different. You are beautiful. You are full with excitement. You are great the way you are. Don't let anybody tell you any different. You are great the way you are. You are full with excitement, and you are great just the way you are within person. Bye. That's all I wanted to say for you. And be yourself. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. So we took some family photos yesterday. We took pictures of the kids. We put the camera on the tripod and we, did a bunch of stuff. Girls got all dressed up and stuff. So here are those pictures right here. And yeah, if you want to check out any of my other videos, you could click up here or down here and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Be safe. Thank you for watching.